Good morning, Skallywags! Boo here with another mindless drivel, and yes, I'm back in my robe and my PJs and my Batman pants. I got those going on for me, so looking pretty styling right now because, well, we're still on quarantine. And full disclosure, I've actually been running a fever for about the last 24 hours, on and off, but it keeps breaking and it keeps going up and down. So fingers crossed that I don't have the Rona. But I'll keep you posted on that. Having said that, so what to do during a quarantine, during a lockdown, during a long period of time where you're stuck at home with very little to do. But if you've been on social media at all, then no doubt you have heard by now of a little 7-part docuseries on Netflix called Tiger King: Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. And oh dear God, is that name quite fitting. Well, today I decided to break down and, well, check out Tiger King myself. And after only getting 2 episodes into this 7-part series, I knew I had to get on camera, regardless of how crappy I look today. I had to get on camera and just talk about this beauty, this gem, this glorious thing that Netflix has graced us with. So basically what I'm going to do today is right now I'm going to talk about the first 2 episodes because I've watched the first 2 already. Then I'm going to go back, watch episode 3, give some more thoughts. Watch episode 4, give some more thoughts. So on and so forth. So let's just jump right into this thing. So right off the bat, you're probably wondering, well, what's the show about? And I really can't help you there. 2 episodes in, and I honestly have no idea, other than basically you've got a cast of characters, and I think it's safe to call them a cast of characters, because they genuinely feel like caricatures of real people. Dogs howling and sirens. That's always good background for a video. She thought so. Gotta stop looking at the viewfinder and look at the camera. It's not here, it's there. Okay, putting it simply, the world of big cat sanctuaries has more drama than a Real Housewives reunion special, except that the Real Housewives are like drunk 13 and 14-year-old high school students that all just found out that their significant others had slept with everyone else in the room. We're gonna go ahead and call him main character, is one Joe Exotic. More sirens. Joe is a homosexual, white trash, aspiring country singer, polygamist, gun fanatic from Oklahoma, with one of the most glorious mullets you've ever seen in your life. And Joe's arch nemesis, Carol Baskins, who is a multimillionaire from Florida who apparently lives in a trailer on like this giant, huge, gated, wonderful property. Well, these two basically hate each other, and they've been going back and forth for years. You see, back in the day, Joe used to travel around with his cats. He would put on shows in like local malls and things, even working magic into the act and things like that. And then once he built his zoo there at his home, he would allow people to come in, pay their admission, and then they would actually get to sit in a big circle where they would then bring in a couple of tiger cubs and let the people pet them and, play with them and just interact with them on a, person to cat right there kind of basis. Well, a part that I do not understand as of yet, again, I'm only 2 episodes in and they really haven't explained why she feels this way. Carol basically sees that as being animal abuse and exploitation.
Our mission is to ban the private possession of these magnificent animals.
So they've been in and out of court for years now, to the point where Joe no longer does his traveling show. He no longer does the mall thing because Carol would be contacting the malls and telling them, hey, don't bring this guy in. And now basically just has his home zoo or sanctuary or whatever you want to call it. Joe, meanwhile, just thinks that Carol is a crazy person whose tigers and big cats actually live in worse conditions than what he has. And at one point, even took a helicopter over her house and had to be talked out of dropping live grenades onto her property from the helicopter. Like you do. Now, meanwhile, and keep up with me here because I know this is going to be all over the place because I don't know how else to explain it. You do have several other side characters that are making this story just, oh God, Oh God! First and foremost, you have Doc Antle, another guy with his own big cat sanctuary. It's not just tigers; there's all kinds of big cats, and they got monkeys and stuff too. But they never talk about those. And he's over in Myrtle Beach doing his thing. And what makes him so interesting is, it's kind of like, one might suggest that it's a sex cult. Yeah, please, it's a sex cult. Basically, he brings in these teenagers, female teenagers for the most part. I think there's one or two males, although one of those males is his son, which makes it even weirder. But these teenage females, they come in as interns. They then live on his property, starting out in absolute squalor. They actually talked to a woman who used to be one of these interns, and she would talk about how there were roaches just everywhere. Like, you would go to make a sandwich and there would be roaches in your food, and you would just kind of brush them off because that's just how it was. But that you could actually rise the ranks into not only someone who takes, more care of the animals and things, but to actually be one of Doc's wives, of which it said that he has upwards of like 9 of them, by sleeping with Doc to basically achieve enlightenment through his penis. That's not a joke. They literally refer to this guy as Bhagavan, which literally means Lord or friend of God. Basically, he was raised with this Dalai Lama looking guy, and, like many others, it turned into a sex cult / tiger sanctuary. And so far, the only real other big time kind of side character we have is Mario and so far, the only other kind of big side character we've been introduced to after only 2 episodes is Mario Tabro, a former drug trafficker from Miami who was literally busted stuffing drugs into live snakes. 223 snakes to be exact. And he's actually said to be one of the big influences behind Tony Montana from Scarface. So that's just character introductions. So far, I haven't even touched on like half the stuff that's happened in the first 2 episodes. Like the fact that Joe is married to 2 men and does country music videos about his 2 husbands and also about tigers.
I saw Tiger saw me.
Or like Joe's employees who also live on his property in like these old rundown motorhomes that have like no running water. They only have one air conditioner to like cool the whole place down. They literally said it could be 120 degrees in there at times. And they're eating, basically, they get expired meat from grocery stores, Walmart and stuff. The employees then get to pick the expired meat first, and then whatever they don't take is fed to the cats. Or the fact that Joe actually breeds the cats and then sells them throughout the country, even though that's illegal. He still does it, basically saying, these are endangered animals, so, what better way to increase the population than by breeding them, which, to be fair, I kind of agree with you, Joe. And Joe says that if anyone actually ever tries to come in to shut him down, that it's gonna be another Waco.
You're an animal rights person, and you try and come into this facility, this is what you're gonna be greeted with.
You guys do remember Waco, right? That happened back in like the early 90s. FBI screwed up the Branch Davidians, all that fun. Look it up. There's even a scene where Joe actually goes to a pawn shop to buy ammunition for his guns. And after he buys the ammo, the guy behind the counter literally, completely casually says, "Do we need explosions today?" Explosions? No. Explosives? Yes. Need any explosives today?
I don't think we're done blowing up today.
Which, to be fair, in Oklahoma is kind of the same as just telling someone to have a nice day. And quite possibly the most interesting thing that we've learned from the first 2 episodes is that Carol, as previously mentioned, is a millionaire, got her millions from her dead husband. And dead is kind of a light term there, as he just kind of vanished one day. The common belief being that either he is buried somewhere on the property or she fed him to the cats. So as this series is called Murder, Mayhem, and Madness, and it is a true crime documentary series, we know that there is going to be more chaos coming. We already know just from the first 2 episodes that Joe is actually spending like 22 years in jail, but we haven't exactly seen why. yet. And unlike many other things that I've watched over the years, I have done no background research on this whatsoever before watching it. I know that I have actually seen stuff just in the news over the years about these people, but beyond that, I know nothing about what's coming. So, this is going to be interesting because now I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to go watch episode 3, and I'll be back in just a few minutes to kind of give you an update on what's happening. So basically this is turning into kind of a review slash reaction type video. So, I mean, hopefully this is as fun as it is for me to make, but you really just need to go and watch the series now. Then come back and maybe watch this, or I don't know. But I'll be back here in just a second after watching episode 3.